like to welcome you to Boy Meets Wellness, a podcast that discusses the complexities, celebrations, and challenges of building a wellness ritual as a BOI, a person who is born obviously incredible. You are now listening to Boy Meets Wellness with poet, motivational speaker, and wellness lover, Evolve Benton.
BOI, born obviously incredible, especially when you wear it pretty.
Happy holidays, Boy Meets Wellness community. 2020 has been a really interesting year. From the pandemic to the U.S. political climate, we have seen humans show up in so many ways, in some ways that disappointed us. I hope this podcast has provided you some tips and skills throughout the year to support your journey of being a boy, someone who was born obviously incredible. This is our final episode of 2020, and we're taking a winter break. We'll be back February of 2021 with new episodes, new wellness tips, and new energy. I'm excited to take a break from podcasting to wrap up my first Speaking for Profit Academy cohort and take some much needed time to reflect, celebrate my accomplishments of 2020. One of my accomplishments is that Boy Meets Wellness hit 3,600 downloads. I appreciate all of our listeners. Thank you so much. If you're feeling the podcast, please leave us a review at Apple Podcasts. This helps us pay the bills and keeps the show going. Also, if you know someone who is incredible who should be on the show, or if you have an incredible journey that you'd like to share, head over to boymeetswellness.com and complete our Boy Meets Wellness interview application. I'll be sure to reach out if we are aligned to work together. I will also be sure to leave this link in the show notes. Today's episode is a bit different. I've invited Zami Hyemingway and K. Kenneth Davis on the show to talk about wellness and financial tips for 2021. As you all know on the podcast, we're all about exploring mindset, money, and motivation. So I think this interview will really support you as you step into 2021 and start to make goals that align you with your ideal self. K. Kenneth Davis is a proud transgender male who is the CEO of the TRANS Capitalist LLC, which is the fastest growing financial literary resource for the Queer-Transgender community. He has spent the past 3 years of teaching, coaching, and motivating hundreds of queer people around the world. His easy to the point, entertaining lessons and relatable life strategies provide concrete results and cultivate skills that help people survive the economic climate of America. He is a graduate of Rochester Institute of Technology with a bachelor's degree in civil engineering and received a Master of Finance from Pace University, Lubin's School of Business. With credit card and student loan debt at an all-time high, job security becoming a thing of the past, K. Kenneth Davis believes in providing financial literacy education to all youth is key. Zami is an Ifa Initiate on the path to priesthood and an ordained minister. Zami is also a holistic wellness coach with a master's in social work and an ACE-certified personal trainer and certified nutritionist. Zami's business, Spiritus Wellness, is his passion. It allows him to teach people how to decolonize wellness through using spirit, mind, body approach based in indigenous practices and, most importantly, love. Zami's focus is to find ways to get messages, tools, and resources for health and wellness to communities of color and others pushed furthest to the margins. Today's episode is brought to you by Mar Media Productions. Mar Media is a media production company that produces, publishes, and uplifts the stories, arts, and journeys of queer and trans people of color and the people who make our lives incredible. Happy holidays and Happy New Year, everyone. I hope this holiday season is filled with love and joy for you and your friends and family. Now for our interview with my boys, Zami Hyemingway and K. Kenneth Davis. Hello, world. Welcome to Boy Meets Wellness. Hella excited and pumped about today. We are almost in 2021. Can y'all believe it? 2020 really flew by, literally, because we didn't really get a year. So thankful to be here today with Kenneth and Zami to talk a little bit about how to prepare yourself for 2021. So Kenneth, if you could just start off with giving us your full name, pronouns, and tell us a little bit about your business.
Yeah, no problem. Hi, everybody. My name is K. Kenneth Davis, aka the Trans Capitalist, and that is my brand in LLC, where I teach and spread financial literacy to the LGBTQ community, especially focusing on the transgender community as well. I make sure that everybody gets to understand what their finances are, how they can contribute, and basically learn how to manage their money in a positive way and helping them reach all their financial goals.
I say to that, Kenneth, you do a whole lot more than that. I mean, you change lives out here in these streets. Some of the posts that you put on Instagram really be having me like looking in my pockets, like, am I doing the right thing? And not in a, in a way that makes me feel like I'm depleting myself. Am I really truly taking care of myself? And I love to tap in a little bit around the morals that you have around money because I really appreciate that. So next is my dear friend Zami. Zami, welcome to the show. Welcome back to the show. Can you just let folks know your full name, pronouns, and tell us a little bit about your business?
Hello, peace and blessings, everyone. My name is Zami Hyemingway. I don't prefer a pronoun. I really have a pronoun, but I often respond to he and him. And I am the founder and CEO of Spiritus Wellness, which is a holistic approach to health and wellness. Really, what I do is I support folks in engaging with wellness from a decolonized way, where it's not based in Eurocentric forms of beauty and standards of beauty. We really focus on decolonizing what we feel is health and wellness, focusing on spirit, mind, and body, how to make it sustainable, and how to really heal ourselves through our wellness practice. I focus a lot on Black folks, particularly Black women and Black trans folks, but I'm open to working with anyone. Happy to be here.
Thanks, Zami. So
we need to connect.
right. Yeah, I knew when they when they said they didn't know each other in the beginning of this episode, I got so excited because these are two of my favorite people. So when my favorite people meet each other, y'all don't even know, it makes me smile. So Zami, can you tell us a little bit about what has been your wellness practice during 2021? I mean, during 2020, right? Like, how have you been taking care of yourself, especially with all that's going on with COVID-19?
Yeah, that's a great question. My wellness practice really went through an overhaul, in all honesty. I've been having the same wellness practice every day for almost 10 years, meaning I would get up between 4 and 5 a.m. Well, actually between 4 and 4:30 a.m., go to the gym, be there by 5 a.m., work out, eat, do everything like clockwork, meditate, pray. And I haven't been in a gym since March of 2020. I stopped going to the gym because my health and the health of my loved ones and people who I live with in my community is more important. And so I chose not to go to the gym to reduce my risk of contracting COVID and also reduce the risk of giving it clients who I work with. So my wellness practice has been rooted in really being still. I meditate almost an hour a day now. I used to meditate about 15 to 30 minutes. Now I meditate about an hour a day. And I find gentler ways of engaging with movement. So really going back to the foundations of engaging with my body, really focusing on more yogic practices, body weight practices, creating more flexibility and mobility, and then rethinking about my approach to nutrition. So I haven't been in the gym since March, but I managed to maintain majority of my muscle mass through body weight and not using more than 95 pounds altogether, to be honest with you. And folks who know me know I used to be a power lifter. So 95 pounds is like a warm up for me, but that's all I had to work with for 9 months to maintain body weight. And I really appreciated the way that I've been able to heal my body through slowing down, through re-engaging with foundations of caring for my body, and really just sitting and being with my ancestors.
Ashe, that is beautiful. I don't know, Kenneth, you probably don't know this, but I used to work with Zami when he lived in the Bay Area. And yeah, we were up at like 5 in the morning. So when he mentioned that early bird, I was just like, I'm so happy those days are over. Like, I'm just not in that way. I enjoy working with Zami, but I don't even get up that early anymore, right? Like, I think we're all taking advantage of that rest. Nope. I'm getting up at like maybe 6:30. Yeah, I'm fancy, y'all, because I don't have to start work until 9, and it's literally in this room. So I used to have to commute an hour and a half both ways. So 3 hours of my day. Yeah, 30 hours. I mean, almost a day, right? In a week when I was doing the calculation. So it's be wild. So Kenneth, tell us a little bit about your well-being practice during this time.
Well, especially during COVID, it changed a lot, I would have to say. Like before, I would be able to follow Zami's routine. Like my wife and I, we get up around 4:30, 5 o'clock. She gets up and she goes to the gym, but I get up, I read and I meditate. But since COVID, we really had to realize the gravity of the situation, and that really helped us take a look at our finances and really know like if our rights and human rights have been secured, especially under Trump's administration, especially for the transgender community, to know if our rights would still be there and valid, which even caused my wife and I to get married early in July during the pandemic. And we kept it safe and we kept it to 20 people. And we only even spent $600 or less on our wedding, which I can teach people how to do that later. But that's been our well-being practices, to really reevaluate our wallet and see what can we afford and what has to be cut, and really bunker down in this. But with that being said, COVID actually gave us a lot more time because I work from home from anywhere, but my wife would travel. And now she doesn't travel whatsoever. But that really gave us the conversations we needed to know, like, okay, what do we really want in this life and how can we go get it? So that's like, even today, we were looking at NACA, which is this housing situation that can help you get a house and help your mortgage lower it. And we're doing that workshop right now. So that's like our priorities. Like, what do we really need? Do we want to buy a house? Okay, what do we need to do to get after it? Do we? What are we doing with our cars? What are we doing if we're not driving that much? Like with insurance, can we cut it down? Just reevaluate a lot of things within our house, knowing that our food spending has gone up since we ain't getting nowhere, and I'm getting more pounds as I sit here that I need to shed off. But those have been our well-being practices, because we really want to make sure that we're safe, not physically safe, but also make sure that we're mentally safe, well-being safe, and in the physical space, not really materialistically, but making sure that we have what we need to continue to thrive throughout COVID, because it's been a detriment for others out there. Like millions of people have been unemployed, and not just from the service level, but even I know executives who have been cut and lost their homes and their jobs, especially even with the fires that have been going on the West Coast side. Like it's real out there. So we really need to take care of what can we do right now.
Thank you for that rich answer. And we're gonna have to get back into the $600 wedding, because that is pretty amazing. Like, wow. So in all transparency, I was supposed to get married this year as well. We decided to wait because we're like, the cost of our wedding is actually a down payment for our home. So really, COVID really shifted the way that we looked at our finances, and we were like, we could just buy a
Yes.
home, and by the time COVID is over, have everybody over and have the wedding there. So, right, like make it cheaper. What's the point of us investing in most of these venues who are not Black owned, not connected to community,
Basically.
right, and
Yeah.
not supporting our future life? So, oh, thank you so much. I'm so happy. This might be a new thing, and they're calling it, like, I've been reading all these finance articles in Forbes, the new micro wedding, and I'm like, AKA, y'all are still trying to get money
Yes.
out of this.
Yes. Yeah, I did it though. So hit me up, $600 or less, and it was great. It was lovely. Didn't miss a beat. It was awesome.
Nice. Congrats on that. Congrats on that.
Thank you.
So, Zami, let's talk a little bit about morals when it comes to nutrition, right? What I really appreciate about working with you was like really your dedication to like getting to know your relationship with food. And I'm hoping that maybe you can tell our listeners a little bit about, especially with all this hoarding going on, folks talking about we might be going into a closure, right? How can folks prepare nutritionally for some of the things that might happen in 2021 around COVID, closing down the country again, not taking up all the toilet paper? I still don't get why we decided to go there with the toilet paper, but I heard we're back there. You don't have to focus on the toilet paper. This is just me bringing it up because I'm still confused about it. If any listeners know what Tap That Off, please hit me up. But Zami, please tap into us with, nutrition when it, not just when it comes to hoarding, but during COVID-19 in 2021.
Yeah, I feel like that's a great question, right? A lot of folks, when thinking about how can I get as much food as possible that's going to last long term and have good shelf life, people automatically go towards a lot of processed stuff and then a lot of dry legumes and carbs, so like rice, potatoes, things like that, right? Which makes sense because those things stretch, right? And in all honesty, you don't actually have to go with the processed foods to have something that stretch. one of my approaches was I did get a lot of dry goods. And we still have the dry goods. Like we were very intentional about, okay, we're going to get like lentils, we're going to get black beans, we're going to get black eyed peas, things like that, put them in there. But we're not going to utilize those things unless we actually have to and we actually have a shutdown. But we did that. We did get some rice. But most of what I focused on was how can we stretch a lot of our protein and our vegetables, right? Without having to buy canned vegetables. And so I looked into pickling things. I looked into making soups and broths and then freezing those things. Looked into how do we start growing our own vegetables so we still have access to fresh foods. So right now I have 4 or 5 different pots that I'm growing collard and mustard greens in right now, because that's what I eat the most of. The vegetable I eat the most of are collard greens. And so why am I always going to the store spending $2 for one bunch? I need to learn to grow this stuff. And so it really shifted my approach to, okay, if I want protein, how can I get protein that stretch and can also make multiple different types of food where I'm not going to get bored? So have different canned tuna, canned chicken, also fresh, go to the store, go to the butcher and section it off, freeze some of it, only pull out what I need. So, and it also made me think, how do those things stretch, but how do they keep me full throughout the day? How do I increase my fiber, which keeps me full throughout the day? And how do I increase my water intake? People think, okay, if we're trying to make sure we have food, they're thinking about cereals, they're thinking about ramen, they're thinking about Chef Boyardee, all these things that have a bunch of like different preservatives that are really processed, have high sodium, but we really don't have to do that. We can learn to grow our own foods. And so really growing all of your vegetables, any leaf vegetable is easy to regrow. So you can get your iceberg lettuce, which doesn't have very much nutritional value, but if you mess with iceberg lettuce, get your iceberg lettuce, you cut off the top, you plant it, and you can regrow it. A lot of different vegetables you can just regrow in a glass of water. You just have to learn how to do it. And it takes some time. I messed up quite a bit, but learning how to actually grow my food and growing things that are natural to my environment. So like okra grows really well in Arizona. I had a lot of okra that I grew, ended up making myself a shrimp and lamb okra stew. And it was delicious. I'd never done it before, but it was great. So learning about what naturally grows in my area and then learning to grow those things and then giving it to other people. I think that in our in our society, we very much have this individualistic approach to life. And so people heard pandemic, I need to take care of myself and my family, and people start to shut down. But if you look at different communities of color, we actually opened up our homes, so that's where we started. Hey, do you have toilet paper? We did get extra toilet paper, but it was because just in case our mother didn't have it, just in case our friend didn't have it, and we let them know, yo, we got extra toilet paper. If you can't go to the store or if you missed out, let us know and we'll bring it to you, right? We did the same approach around food. If we couldn't go to the grocery store, but someone else could go, we gave a list. They got the list, we divvied out food. If we're growing vegetables, okay, these are the plants that I'm growing. You know how to grow some beans, you grow the beans, and then we're going to shift, right? Or trade. So honestly, I feel like when it comes to nutrition and when it comes to living throughout a pandemic and thriving, it's really about being strategic around who's in your community. What skills do we have? What knowledge do we know? A lot of things that we could heal our bodies with, we could do it in our kitchen. So making sure you have turmeric, ginger, onions, garlic, a lot of those basic things, cinnamon, cloves, things that our grannies used to help us when we were sick and heal us through, did that, right? Having lots of peppers in our home, growing our own peppers, all those things are natural things that help heal our bodies. And if people look at it from a perspective of, if I can get this stuff, regrow it myself, I don't have to worry about the grocery store. If I know how to pickle things, those are going to help it last longer. If I can make a big stew, put it into sections and freeze it, that's going to help it last longer. So instead of buying your frozen pizzas and all those other things, think about what fresh ingredients can I prepare, freeze, save money because it's actually cheaper to purchase fresh whole foods than it is to buy the processed thing. Save money, and then it stretches out. So I'm taking care of my body, I'm taking care of my finances, I'm taking care of my community, and I'm thriving through and don't have to go to the grocery store except for maybe once a month.
That's bomb.com right there. Yeah. I mean, I think we all got our little like green thumb, you know what I'm saying, during this time. I've been seeing everybody with the house plants, which is amazing. We grew some kale, which the kale was so much better than the kale in the store. I was like, what they doing with this kale in the store? Like y'all putting some what y'all putting on there? So thank you for showcasing, Zami, how we can take care of ourselves in this time. Because I have to admit, I grew up with a Southern grandmother. So instantly when this happened, I straight up went all to Chef Boyardee because that's what she used to do, all the canned stuff, right? Like that was my thought about it. But then I was like, I haven't eaten that stuff in years. Like I really hadn't, but I was just more thinking about what can be quick. And instantly when I went back to actually one of the shopping lists that you gave me when we worked together, that's when I seen all the beans and all the lentils. And I was like, oh, I can make a lentil curry soup. I just came up with all these different ideas. So just to let you know, even though we're not working together right now, your work is still working. It is still doing the good work.
That's dope.
So Kenneth, let's talk a little bit about this money, right? I know so many people who lost their jobs this year, who now are like new business owners, entrepreneurs. And I really want you to tap into some advice you can give for folks who are now shifting, right? Folks who've been working maybe like a 9 to 5 and maybe now they living good off of unemployment, or they're shifting to, either side gigs or entrepreneurship. What are tips that you can give them to make sure that they're really, staying stable, to be honest?
Okay, I would definitely say the best thing they can do is budget. Budget is very important for the personal life and as a business life. If you honestly can't manage your own personal finances, you can't manage your business finances. These skills transfer through, and people need to understand that. And even when employment hit, and that was a great nest egg for a lot of people, hopefully if they save their money correctly, they should still have a huge nest egg. But if they didn't, then that means they're probably suffering right now. But the best thing they can do is always reevaluate what they have now and then create a quick budget. And a budget doesn't have to be some great Excel tool that you need or some skill that you need to have. Literally, all you need to have is know what is your income or what's in your checking account balance, and then subtract off of all your expenses that you have. That will give you a bottom line of what you need and what you need to be saving as well. And especially within this time, and I usually say it within my courses and my workshops, if people haven't attended, 99% of people save incorrectly. What you're supposed to do is, one, as soon as you get that check or as soon as you get that income or as soon as you made that money from your job or your side hustle, save at least 1 to 10% of that and then pay off the bills that you can. Luckily with COVID, we're in a lot of forbearance places where people are forgiving, which is a great way to take advantage of it. Take advantage of that time to give yourself breathing room to start over. This is why I also say every day is a new day to start. Like, stop digging yourself in that hole, but you also need to know how deep that hole is. And how you do that is just spreading your finances over. You're reevaluating and rechecking what are your expenses. And if you don't know your expenses, just estimate them. Estimate high on your expenses. And then when it comes to your income, you're not sure what's coming in, just estimate low on that. And all you do, once again, I'll repeat it, is create a quick budget of you take your check-in and you separate the expenses from it and see what you can do from there. But the best thing about COVID is you have this time now of sitting to reevaluate what you're doing with your pockets. Because I'll repeat it again, what you do in your personal life will transfer over your business. If you're reckless taking care of your budget and your personal expenses, you're going to do the same thing with your business. It's just like, oh, I'm getting this money, it's coming in, I don't know what to do with it. Just spend it on something else. No, take that time to really map out and plan out what you need and how much you need, and make that even into a business goal of what you need to do to survive.
I say to that. So can you tell us a little bit about, I know that they did the student loan forbearance, right? And that's been going on for a while, and that's going to end, I think, in the new year, right? For some people, that's
It's
ending
coming in January.
Exactly. So how can folks prepare for that, right? Like, and this is this is for me and for others. Are they just going to put everybody back on the plan they were? Do folks have to contact them from that? Or, like, how is that going to work when it's over?
Well, they've been sending out emails because I have a whole thing about student loans and how I feel about student loans. Schools should be free, number one. But anyway, getting back to it, they sent out a lot of emails stating that you can do an income repayment plan, basically on what your income is right now. And then they'll make a payment plan of making it lower so you can be able to pay something. But what I would recommend to tell people that if you have to defer your loans for another year, go ahead and do it, because that breathing room is more important than interest. If you're crushing yourself in order to pay off all your school debt now, which is another thing that they tell people as soon as you get out of school, oh, pay it all, pay it all, pay it all. But they don't tell you to save. And it's like, no, start saving fast, save up as much as you can, then pay off your student loans when you have that buffer in front of you. So I would tell people is to, one, do the income repayment plan and see if it matches. If it does not match and you still can't afford it, or you still lost your job, because also the unemployment is ending too. That's ending for a lot of people come December, and they're not going to have that extra income that they're giving. And we don't know if Congress is going to pass another stimulus check. So this is a time where you really have to know what's in your pocket and what you have, and then make a plan around that. So definitely check out the income repayment plan. And if it does not work for you, then take that breathing room and defer your loans for a year if you have to. I let people know I deferred my student loans for like 3 years because I needed breathing room. And I was able to not pay that, but I was able to stack up, rebuild my credit score, and then come back to the income repayment plan and get lower interest rates on it. So it does make sense. Don't go against that initial feeling, because a lot of people do get financial advice from the wrong people and not the right resource. Look at whenever you take advice from somebody, look at what their circumstances is and how they're doing, how they handle their money, and then make that decision if it's correct or not. Or if you still are unsure from getting that, then go to a trusted resource like myself, aka the Trans Capitalist, or maybe a financial advisor. It depends, because some financial advisors like to sell financial products and not help you. You really want to find somebody who can help you sit down and really get a budget going and help you understand and utilize like where you are right now and what you need to do to get to the goals that you want to. But right now in COVID, the biggest goal should be, how can I save for myself? And how can I make a plan for myself in the long term? Don't think about student loans right now. They're not that important. What is your biggest thing is shelter and safety and food.
I say to that, and I'm with you. School should be free. I want my money back. Like, to be honest with you, because
Exactly.
I mean, besides them still asking me for money, I don't know what they're really doing for me. Besides pinging me all the time as alumni, can I get some money? Can I get some? I'm like, I'm not done paying you off yet. Maybe when I pay
Exactly.
you off, I can help you out.
And it's like when you're paying debt, when you pay off debt, you just paid off debt. There's no more use of that. But when you're saving, you have multiple opportunities of how you can utilize that money. That's why I say, like, that's why I always say, save up fast and pay off debt slow. Take your time, because all they want is your money, and they're not going to give you it back once you pay them off. They don't care what you do after. They just want their money. So no, put yourself first and save fast and pay off that debt slow.
I shaded that. And just make sure you're keeping it current, right? Like, one of the things I assumed in the beginning of this was that if I didn't pay like the top of the line on my student loans and pay them off as quick as possible, my credit wouldn't be good. I'm proud to say I got a 777, which is a lucky number. I was going to play the lottery, but I don't really gamble. But yeah, I have that, and I have student loans, right? So, but I had this belief in my head when I didn't have enough financial literacy and I wasn't understanding. It's really about staying current, right? And staying on top of your
Yes.
financial behavior. So thank you so much, Kenneth, for always like just tapping into us and telling us to put ourselves first. That's what I appreciate about you as a financial advisor, because you're all about like self-love first, not about people, the man, the school, whoever's trying to take that money. I really appreciate that.
Facts.
So Zami, let's talk a little bit about how do we get our workout on without the gym, right? Like, how are we able to do this on a budget, right? Because that's really what I feel like I've had to figure out. Can you tell us what you've been doing for movement, and maybe give some practices to the listeners?
Yeah, of course. So the first thing I want to say is like you don't need any equipment to work out. Some of the oldest practices of movement and working out is really just moving your body, you know? So if you can dance, if you can do yoga, if you get up and you stretch, you do push-ups, sit-ups, although anything that's moving your body, you can work out and do. Honestly, I feel that the biggest tip is learning how to be consistent and how to create a ritual around your workout. Because so many of us have a practice of our workout being external as opposed to internal. And that's something that I really have to shift. My wellness practice was based on all these external things, with the exception of my prayer and meditation. And so for COVID, I had to redo my wellness practice and I centered it around grounding, prayer, and meditation because that was the one thing that was based in me and that was internal and consistent. And then I built it from there. And so really looking at your workout and your physical movement from an internal place as opposed to external. You don't need any equipment to work out. You don't need to purchase anything to work out. If you want to do muscle building and like you don't have enough body strength to do a push up or a pull up and things like that, okay, that's fine. But can you curl a water bottle? Do you have water bottles in your home? Take those empty water bottles, go outside, fill it up with some sand. Now you have a weighted water bottle and you could do curls with that, right? You get a couple gallon jugs, do the same thing. You do some curls with gallon jugs. You can hold 2-gallon jugs up here, do some front squats with it. You can take a backpack, put books in it, put water bottles in it, put rocks in it. All of a sudden you have weight, you could do weighted squats, right? So if you really want to add resistance to your workouts, there's things all over your home that you can do that with and do it with partners. So if you have a roommate, if you have a partner, if you have a spouse, that person living in that home with you can support you. You could do partner workouts, right? But really all you have to do is be committed to moving. So getting up in the morning, stretching, getting up in the morning and say, okay, today I'm going to do 10, 10, 10. I'm going to do 10 squats, 10 push-ups, 10 sit-ups. Tomorrow I'm going to do 20, 20, 20 and make a goal out of it, right? And essentially a game. If you do want to use equipment, because for the longest time I refused to buy equipment because people were price gouging, and I just felt like it was really disrespectful and horrible that people would do that. But capitalistic society, right? And so many people took what would usually be $20 and start charging $80 for it. And I was like, you got me messed up. And so I waited the longest time before I purchased anything. And I, start just waiting because after a while, people start reducing the price a little bit. And so what I said was, okay, what are the things that I need? I need dumbbells that are actually adjustable. Because you get more bang for your buck if you get adjustable weights. Just want to put that out there. If you can get an adjustable dumbbell, get a barbell and put weights on it, that's worth putting the money in because after this, you still have equipment that you can take the light weights off, buy some other weights and add it on. That's going to last you throughout your years if you're trying to create a home gym, right? And so I waited until I found some adjustable dumbbells and 2 adjustable barbells. And I spent about $200 altogether for 2 barbells that weren't Olympic size, but I could curl, I could do squats, I could do what I needed to do with them. So 2 barbells, 2 dumbbells, and then 95 pounds worth of weight, $200. At the beginning of COVID, that would have been almost $600. I waited a few months, got it for $200. And I made sure to get it from families as opposed to going into the store. So I went on OfferUp and purchased it that way, or, look through Facebook Marketplace. So I use some of those things because I'd rather give my money to an individual than to give it to a corporation who shot up their prices. But also wait it through. Do what you can do with body weight and then think, okay, how can I get more bang for my buck with this so that this lasts me forever? And so now I have this equipment that will last me forever. The other thing I did was I had equipment that was not just barbells and dumbbells. So I had battling ropes, I had medicine balls, I have a TRX, and these are things that I purchased throughout the years. I have an exercise ball, and I start looking at how can I get a full body resistance workout. I have a bunch of resistant bands, but how can I do that without just using weights, right? And so a lot of people are like, I want to work out. They think barbell and dumbbell. No, get a sandbag. You know, at sandbags, you can reduce the weight, adjust the weight. You could do squats with it, push-ups with it. You can do sit-ups with it. You can do shoulder workouts and like a bunch of things with different equipment. But people just think barbell, dumbbell. No, there's other things. Get resistant bands. If you get different resistant bands, you put 3-4 of those resistant bands together. All of a sudden, you have 40 pounds that you could curl with, you could squat with, right? So people have to think outside of the box as well. Right now, this isn't the time to really be like, I need a 6-pack. I want to be ripped and lean if you don't have access to the gym. So I also had to adjust what is my approach to my physical wellness this year, because I had a different goal this year at the beginning of the year. Okay, I'm not going to the gym. I'm not lifting the way I was lifting. My movement has slowed down. So I need to adjust my nutrition practice. And then I need to be realistic about my physical goals. So my physical goals was to maintain as much muscle mass as possible, be as lean as possible, and work on endurance and cardio. So I started running again this year. I never would have thought at 34 that I've been running 4 miles 4 times a week or 3 times a week. But yeah, I was doing that. I decided that I wanted to work on my flexibility. I wanted to start working on more calisthenic work. And so those are some tips, like be more realistic about your goals. You can do things just with your body, focus on nutrition, and then think outside the box when it comes to equipment. You don't need barbells and dumbbells to do resistance. Look at medicine balls, look at slam balls, look at kettlebells. Like those things are often cheaper. And then look at, individual selling things as opposed to big stores. I think that answers your question.
It did. And it was perfect because you really went into like the way that we can make it, at home, right? Our own equipment, and really like what I'm into, which is supporting community. So I love Facebook Marketplace and all those places to buy. It was ridiculous the amount of the weights were. I was like, and I don't know if I text you or my cousin who lifts, but I was like, is this normal? Because I never consider really buying weights. So I was like, I'm never going to buy them. Like, it's just not going to happen. And then I realized that it was like triple what it would normally be.
Yep. It was really disgusting because I'm like, this is a time where we really need to be supporting and investing in each other's health and well-being, and people took it as an opportunity to steal. And so when people came to me and they were like, how can I do this? I was like, don't buy no equipment right now. Instead, makeshift stuff at home. And then, I literally did not lift anything from March until I think I bought my equipment in August. And, managed to maintain majority of my muscle mass using resistant bands, using body weight. And honestly, if anyone's going to invest in something, invest in a pull-up bar. Like, because you could do so much with just a pull-up bar, and that you should not spend more than $20. Even standard pull-up bars, people were selling for $50, and I was like, "Don't you buy that?" When someone would tell me, I was like, "Don't you buy that?" But I was like, you could buy a $20 pull-up bar. You could do dips on that. You could do mountain climbers on that. You could do pull-ups on that. If you can't do a full pull-up, you could still do hanging leg raises, contract your lats so that you're at least building the strength and like building the inner rhodoid, so that when you build the strength to be able to do a pull-up, all those smaller muscles are still contracted, or still engaged, or protected. It's going to reduce your, chance of injury. And then go to your park. I went to the park a lot. There's little equipment at the park that you can work out on. You just do those circuits. Bam, you just did a full body weight workout, or a full workout that hit multiple body parts, right? At the park, you didn't invest in anything. Just take your little Lysol with you, take you a towel, wipe everything down, and then you're good to go, right? So you don't actually need to spend any money. Go to a park. If you're living in a place where it's snow. I don't believe in living places with weather, but if you live in a place that is snowing right now, I'm from California and I live in Arizona. Those are the only two places I lived for a reason. But like, if you're in one of those places that have weather, build stuff at home, or even get a little stepper. So like, I bought 2 step boxes that I spent $30 on. They're very low. That's my bench right now. So when I go to bench press, I have a box because all you need to bench press is be able to bring your elbows right below your chest. Just break that 90 degree and bam, you're stretching out your chest. You could come back up. You don't need to buy an actual bench. But people are spending money on equipment because, one, they don't actually know the mechanics of the body, and that you don't actually have to come all the way back here to be able to do this thing. You just need to be able to break that 90 degree and you get to work your chest. But people don't understand that. So they just try to build what they see on television, where it's like, no, you don't need that. Like, slow your roll, like, kind of like, you have to start to learn the mechanics of the body. Once you're able to learn the mechanics of the body, you realize you can do so much with two things, like, you could just have 2 dumbbells and have a workout that can sustain your body and never have to do anything other than use those 2 dumbbells.
Exactly. Do not get caught up in the capitalism, y'all, especially in this COVID-19, because we do not need that. So this has been such a rich conversation, y'all. I'm so thankful for both of you and the work that you're doing in the world. Kenneth, for my final question for you for today, I wanted to just think if you could just explain the word recession to people, because I know that that's been a big topic, right, in the media, that we're going into a recession or we're in a recession. And if you could just explain that. And then can you tell us a little bit about the work you'll be doing in 2021, and how folks can connect with you, become maybe one of your clients, support your elevation?
Yeah, sure, definitely. So what I love, like when figuring out terms and stuff like that, a good source I do like to tell people is investopedia.com. They break down all financial terms and they even have a little video that can explain it better than what you're reading, because financial language has been created to be convoluted on purpose to keep people out, kind of like systemic racism on top. But to break it down to people, recession is basically a decline in the economy where trade and industrial trade has been slowed down. So basically, people are not buying as they usually do, which causes the economy to decline, which causes to, how can I put it, make the world kind of shut down a little bit more and make things scarce. So when people come into that scarce mentality of trying to buy everything that they can, but then understanding that since people aren't buying more, it affects the supply and demand. So basically, the demand now is being demolished because people are not buying as much as they can, which causes prices to skyrocket. And this is why we're seeing that a lot of people are, just as Zami used about the capitalism of weight bills and how that's working, of how, okay, now something is in demand, we can skyrocket the prices and usually take advantage of that. And letting people understand that in recessions, there are some advantages, just like how the housing market now is a buyer's market, which is great for people who are looking to buy homes, but that's unfortunately for a level or a small group, a small minority of people who are able to do so, because majority of the country is not able to or not able to afford their rent and can probably foreclose on their house as it's coming. So that's basically like the definition of a recession is. And I would say we currently been in a recession since Trump took office, and everything happening now, COVID just accelerated that. And now we're even in a worse economic decline than we started when Obama was in office. And presidents do affect the economy. And that's why people watch out for it. But people really don't understand and realize that fact within itself. So with that being said, since we're in a recession, it's good to not buy, recheck, and reevaluate and see what you can afford within itself. But if you are in an opportunity that you can afford a housing, or you're looking for better housing or better apartments, this is the time to do so. So there's always some advantages when it comes to a recession, and there's more disadvantages when it comes to recession as well too. So some people, for example, like some businesses like Amazon has skyrocketed since this COVID has happened, because now everybody's on the delivery system. So when people hear the word recession, I don't want them to be scared, but I want them to reevaluate the opportunities that they can present for themselves. Not everything's going to work out, but there are little things that they can do to have a small financial gain for themselves, especially not in the stock market, because stock market is too volatile right now. But there are other ways where people can make money and have side hustles. You just got to adapt, and you just got to learn how you can do that. And then also, with that being said, for 2021, I'm really excited that my financial e-workbook has been completed. It's called the Trans Capitalist, the Money Talk. And this is everything you need to know about financial literacy, and set yourself onto a strong foundation with quick examples, with quick learning steps. Everything is broken down, basically giving you like, yo, this is the hustle of this. Don't fall for that trap. Or if you really need to understand a credit card game or how your credit score works, this is it, and this is why. So I give like quick histories on things, but then the quick history how to make that advantage for yourself. So that book is going to be released January 1st, 2021. So as soon as the new year hits and you really want to get your finances under control, you really want to understand how to do a quick budget, you really want to understand just how to put yourself into a better economic financial gain and advantage, this book is for you and is highly affordable. So please understand that. I'm giving this knowledge and busting out this game for a great price, kind of like how Jay-Z did with his for $9.99. Mine is only $19.99, and we're good to go. So that's for the year. So start yourself off right and get that money talk. Everybody deserves a great money talk.
I say to that. So folks can get the book. Are they able to like sign up for consult calls with you or anything like that? And how would they do that?
Yes, definitely. You can go to my website, thetranscapitalist.com. You're able to go on Connect and you can sign up for it. I have 4 different services. I have the e-workbook. I have one-on-one counseling. I have a money boot camp for people about credit cards. And now I'm also now entering the world into couples. So if you are a newly couple or you just got newly married and you want to learn how to combine your finances together, I am your guy to help you with that.
Brilliant. Y'all don't even know how y'all getting all the game on this episode. Y'all getting all the tips, all the love. This is amazing. Zami, can you tap in and let us know what you got going for the new year and how folks can dive into your work?
Yeah, so for the new year, I'm actually shifting up my business model and my practice. I'm not going to take on as many individual clients because I really want to spread health and wellness to more of the community. And so I'm going to be moving a lot of my stuff actually onto Patreon. I'll still be doing my bi-weekly Wellness Wednesday videos, which are free, quick tips on how to engage with wellness from a spirit, mind, and body framework. And then I'm going to be offering more classes on more Patreon. So folks can sign up for my Patreon. I'm going to have it open the beginning of January. And people can sign up to be a Patreon member. When they sign up, there'll be different tiers. And depending on what tier you are is how much access you have to my knowledge, right? And so I'm going to be doing more courses that are going to be for specific demographics as well, that are going to be more monthly. So I'm going to have one for folks who are prepping for trans-related surgeries, for them to ask questions, talk about how to prep their bodies, how to heal for their bodies, things that I wish that I was told, but I ended up figuring it out as I went. And so I'm going to be doing that. I'll be having stuff specifically for folks who have history of disordered eating. Like I have a history of disordered eating. Many of my clients have a history of disordered eating, and helping people repair their relationship around nutrition and wellness. And so, yeah, that's one of the big things I'm going to be doing this upcoming year, is moving a lot of my services onto Patreon so I can serve more people and so that it can also be more affordable to more folks. And I'll still have a small, very, very small group of folks that I'll be doing one-on-one work with. I'm not going to take more than 5 people a year at this point. And before I was doing it almost 20 folks. I'm only going to be seeing 5 folks. So when I have a slot open, I'll let you know, but I have a waiting list just to put that out there. And then one of the other things I'm going to do is I'm really going to be focusing on how do we bring wellness into the workplace and doing more consultations with businesses and organizations, with schools. And so if you're an organization, you're someone who runs a business, if you work in schools, you work with students, youth, even faculty and staff, one of the things I really love doing is going into places that need a lot of wellness. Like I'm a social worker, and so I do wellness practice in my 9 to 5 as well. And I work with the reentry community. But a lot of folks who I work with, a lot of people, our sister organizations, just over the years, we don't know how to integrate self-care, self-preservation, and wellness into our practice at work, which leads to a lot of burnout, which leads to us unintentionally harming our clients. And so one of the things I'm really doing this year too is bringing Spiritus Wellness into businesses or organizations and teaching them how do we actually build a workplace of health and wellness so that we can actually serve our clients better and also reduce increase retention at work, right? So reduce attrition, reduce the turnaround that happens because people, especially organizations, lose more money with having to hire and fire and rehire people than they do hiring someone, keeping them there, and investing in their health and wellness. And so teaching organizations how to do that too. How do you keep the people you've hired, treat them well, help them stay engaged, and help them stay healthy so that they're not quitting because they're burnt out?
Yeah, I got some bomb stuff coming up in 2021. I'm excited. I'm gonna be on the Patreon. You already know it's on me. I can't wait. Whatever the top tier is, I need to be on that. And Kenneth, please, when this book officially drops, I would love to feature it on the website. For the listeners, the one thing I want y'all to know is we are updating the Boy Meets Wellness website where we'll have a whole Rolodex of folks who have been on the show with their resources to make it more accessible for y'all to grab. So look out for that. This has been an amazing conversation. I knew it was going to be dope, but when you're in the moment, it's brilliant. Anything that y'all want to share before we head out?
I just want to share one thing about we're coming to the end of 2020. This is the time where people want to try to do New Year's resolutions and things like that. I want to honestly, as a wellness coach and a holistic wellness coach, I want to encourage people to let go of the idea of a New Year's resolution this year. We have experienced so much grief, whether it's because folks have died from COVID, people have died because of transphobia, people have died because of police brutality and murder and sanctioned murder in this country. And people have had a lot of loss when it comes to jobs, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to so many different things, right? And so what I really want to encourage people to do when you start thinking about what this year ahead can be for you, I want to encourage people to come from it from this place of easing into the year and how do I care for myself, right? How do I process the grief that I had? Because we've all, as a collective, experienced grief because we will never experience life the way that we did before COVID. There's not necessarily going to be a post-COVID. This is our new life, and we're all learning how to live in this new reality. And so how do we do this with ease? How do we do this with care and gentleness? And how do we think about what is going to be my wellness practice in this new year, not a resolution? What is my commitment to wellness? What is my commitment to longevity? What is my commitment to being sustainable and not engaging? Because even with capitalism, people lost their jobs. People who had well-paying jobs lost their jobs and all of a sudden found themselves in a place that they didn't find themselves before, right? So we know that money's not going to save us in many ways. So what are some of the other things that will, right? As a community, how can we do that? So I just want to say that, I want to encourage people, try not to adopt the same practices coming into this new year that we've been doing for years. Think about what is a sustainable, holistic way to be well, to thrive, and to extend my hand to my community as well.
Definitely. That was beautiful. One thing I would definitely say, especially with me being a finance coach, seek help. It's time to seek help. This is a great time that you can do that. Since we don't know when COVID's ending and we're still within this space, this is a great, excellent time to reevaluate your finances. And if you are unsure of how to reevaluate your finances, if you're unsure of where to, just begin by asking for help. Admitting help is the number one first step. And I always say that, like, when you ask for help with your finances, you're doing better than 99% of the world who don't, because a lot of people just sit there and suffer, and it's time to break that silence. And I know finances is vulnerable. It's like when the next thing occurs, going to a doctor. Like, you don't share, you don't speak about it, but we also need to break that taboo and start speaking about finance and money in public, letting people know, letting people in, and letting them help you be that resource. And like I said, if you don't know, then I'm here to help, because I always, even if I don't know the answer of it right now, I can point you to somebody who will. And there's a lot of people who are offering financial help, and just a lot of people are not seeking it. I'll even put this fact out there that I've been in so many financial workshops and I see no people of color. It's usually majority of white people, and especially even the LGBT community, it's majority white people who are seeking out help, and we are left behind. And we are 4 times the unemployment rate highest right now, people of color, especially the transgender community, and are only making $10,000 a year or less. And we need to break these statistics. And the way you do that is by seeking help. If you don't know where to go, find something or find a resource or read. You have Google at your fingertips. There's no gatekeeper in business or capitalism telling you that you're not able to learn this anymore. All it takes for you is to type in, and you can read one article. Start reading a sentence a day, one article a month, or even a magazine a year. Just do something for your financial help, and you will be in a better off place than you started before. So please, 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 please start seeking help. And if somebody's offering free financial literacy courses, take advantage of those courses, because you will always learn something that you didn't learn. And what I usually say is, like, what started me on my journey was that I never knew money rules existed. There are principles, there's foundations and fundamentals that you need to understand about money that can set you off into the right place. So please seek help.
Ashe, ashe. I hope that everyone is staying healthy, is staying positive, and is uplifted as we go into this new year. Like I said, it's been an honor to speak to both of you today. Thank you for coming on Boy Meets Wellness again. Y'all are alumni, y'all double alumni. I got to get y'all some certificates or some cords or something, because y'all just keep bringing the knowledge. Thank you so much for being here. And that's a wrap, y'all.
Thanks for listening to Boy Meets Wellness. Stay connected on and off the show by following us online at Boy Meets Wellness. That's boy with an I. Until next time, go be incredible.